All right, everybody, welcome to today's personal development lesson. As always, I am your host, Joel Dunn. We are going to be diving in today, so make sure you have your notes handy. You're ready to write things down because this one is for high performers only. Yep, you heard that right. High performers only. And because you're tuning in here, that obviously means you are becoming a high performer. So what we're going to be talking about today is becoming the leader your future requires, with the little subtitle, A Blueprint for Identity-Driven Growth, Disciplined Action to Create Lasting Impact. So today's conversation isn't about motivation. It's about who are you becoming. This lesson is for anyone who knows they've outgrown yesterday's version of themselves and who are trying to transition into the new best version of themselves. Because, I'm always in a season of growth. I'm always trying to grow, to become better, pivoting influence, stepping into deeper purpose. I'm not just, going for personal growth. I'm trying to become someone worthy of legacy. That is what you are doing. You are trying to build a legacy for you and your family. So how best can you do that? Well, you have to know your identity before your strategy, because you can't outperform who you believe you are. See, your identity that you have and that you carry about yourself is the lid on your capacity. It is the cap not only for you, but also for your team. Because we're often chasing after results without resolving who we are at the core, what we stand for, what our values are, what we're going to do. So that's why we constantly talk about creating your I am statements. When you're using your I am statements, you are creating that identity for yourself, because you can create that identity for you. If you don't, you tend to take on the identity that people create for you. So how are you going to take back control? How are you going to outperform the last version of you? You are going to create the I am statements for who you want to become. And then along with that, also create I ask statements. These are the things that you want to have happen on your behalf. Because remember, you can only control the things that you can control. Everything else outside of that, you have to ask for. You have to pray for. You control the things that you are able to. And then outside of that, it's up to God to move and make those things happen for you. So for those things, create your I ask statements. And daily say your I am statements to reaffirm that identity that you're creating for yourself. And then state your I ask statements so that you put out there what you want God to do for you. So who do you say you are when no one is watching? See, we're posting stuff all the time, all over social media. But the question that I want you to ask is, who do you say you are outside of social media, in the quiet times? That's the character development portion where you need to dive deep for yourself to create a strong foundation of your identity. Next, you have to embrace the tension between who you were and who you want to become. Because growth feels a lot like grief. Now, I know that sounds awkward. Why does growth feel like grief? Because you are letting go of old things, old habits, the old version of you, maybe the version of you that you got too comfortable with, because you're letting go of old wins, titles, things that people had said about you, even if those things were great. if you wrapped up your identity in that and it's holding you from becoming better, becoming more, you have to let go of it. How have you wrestled with stepping outside of who you currently are? Because it's one of those things that it feels uncomfortable. It's scary. Maybe you've wrapped up your identity in what you do. And maybe it's time for you to step outside of that so that you can stretch and become more. Again, a lot of this is so that you can have greater influence and greater impact for other people, which is sometimes very scary because you feel like it all rests on your shoulders. So when you can take the time to look at where you're at currently and then step beyond that and how you can bring others into that transition with you, you'll go much further, much faster. See, the bridge between who you were and who you are called to be is built with obedience, not comfort. See, when you create discipline and you create habits and you're obedient to those and you're obedient to the calling that you may be hearing from God, it will be uncomfortable, but it's going to create a version of yourself that has greater lasting impact. Next, you need to understand that you need to lead from overflow, not performance. Well, what does that mean? You need to fill yourself up so that you're giving out of abundance, not from a lack. See, when you are giving from a lack, if you're not filling yourself up, all of a sudden you become poorer, pouring into until you run out or you're running on fumes. And this is when you start to break down. This is when you start to have those moments of doubt because of the fact that you have nothing left to give. So what are your non-negotiables to fill yourself up so that you can lead from overflow? Now, you're obviously here, so you're doing something for personal development to fill yourself up. But what other things are you learning from? What moments are you doing to rest and reflect and to fill yourself up? And then also, what kind of activities are you doing that will fill you up? What kind of inputs are you letting into your life to fill you up? Make sure that the amount of things that you have pouring into you is so big that you have so much overflow that you can't help but pour into others. Here's something that's crazy. If you stopped performing for applause, how would you lead differently? See, because when you're performing for applause, it's almost as if you are getting filled with air. There's nothing that's going to create an overflow. So make sure that what you're doing is you're performing for impact, not applause. Now, favorite topic here is discipline and accountability, because discipline and accountability equals confidence. Because identity fuels your discipline, and discipline builds confidence, and accountability helps you stay disciplined. Because winners and dabblers are separated by what they do in private. The unseen things. What are the unseen things that you are doing to create that identity of the future you are becoming? When discipline made you feel like, it was something that was negative, how do you change that story? Me growing up, it was one of those things that I always felt like every time somebody was coming to me to talk to me about something as an adult, I was afraid because I felt like I was in trouble. Now, it's kind of funny when I look back and I laugh at it, because it's like, what was I doing so wrong then that I felt like every adult was coming to discipline me? But one of those things that I had to break was that when people are coming to you, They want to truly help you become better. So when you think about discipline, think about it as something that you are using to build your character, your confidence, and not the discipline of what happened when you were younger. Next, serve, stretch, and speak up. Impact multiplies through these three things. When you're serving, you're stretching yourself, and you're speaking up, you will have multiplicity of impact on others. By serving, you need to get lower, not louder. When you're getting lower, when you are humbling and serving and being a servant leader, you have a far greater impact because people will do things with and for you than if you were to be a manager and just be louder and point at them and tell them to do the things. Because let's be honest, with your team in your business, it's like a volunteer army. You're not giving them a daily paycheck where they have to show up in order to get paid. So being a serving leader allows you to reach and impact them better than if you were just to tell them the things to do. Now, stretching, this one comes to you. Do the hard things consistently, not only so that it stretches you, but when you're doing these things in front of your team, guess what you're doing again? You're setting the example of the fact that you are trying to become a better person, trying to become the better leader. You're doing the things consistently that others maybe don't do. And you're setting that example for your team to follow. Now, speaking, when I talk about speaking up, we're talking about stop hiding your voice or your vision. As you know, Stephanie and I had a rough go of it 15 years ago. We were in bankruptcy, we were in foreclosure, we were having vehicles repossessed, we were standing in food lines, and we were embarrassed about that story. We hid it for the first couple years. But then when we decided to declare it and we stopped hiding and we started sharing that became our voice. Our struggle became our strength, and our story impacted those who were either in that place or had been that place before. Because remember, the person that you are most designed to serve is the person who you previously were. Because you know that you made it through and you can help others through that. And the only way you can do that is by speaking up, sharing your story so that you can impact those people most like you. Don't die with your story inside. Use it to make an impact and to change those lives of the people just like you. So guys, here are some things that I want you to write down. Maybe these are reflection questions that you can put in your journal for the morning or for at night before you go to bed. But make sure you use these and challenge yourself so that you can go to that next level. Number 1, who is your future self? Have you written it down? Have you declared it? Do you know what that version of you looks like? See, when you know those things, you can start doing the things that that person would be doing. Number 2, what habit do you need to break? What is the bad habit you need to get rid of? And then after that, what is the habit that you need to build to replace it? What are the habits that you need to have to become that future version of yourself? What habits do they have? Write those ones down. And 3, who in your life deserves you at your transformed next version of yourself? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? Write down those names. Who are the people that need you to show up as that next version of yourself? Is it a spouse? Is it a sibling? Is it a child? Who do you need to become for them and why. Now, this is something that I want you to also not only write down and post on your mirror, but say it to yourself daily. This should be your I am statement from this training today. I am becoming the leader my future requires. I'll say it again. I am becoming the leader my future requires. Guys, hope this helped. Make sure that you go through this because we want you to stretch, to become the next best version of yourself so that you can have lasting ripple effect in the lives of those around you. Guys, go out and make it an amazing day, and I hope your week is as awesome as you are.